Aroused by fire? Welcome to our channel, where we flirt with the mind and bring your deepest desires to life through stories. Today we have a mesmerizing story about a man inside a flame that changed Sienna's life forever. Will she truly discover the hidden power within? Let's find out in Aroused by Fire. Can she resist his temptations or release herself to her desires? Please remember to subscribe if you enjoy the story. In the heart of an ancient, enchanted forest stood the long-forgotten Ashen Temple, rumored to be a nexus of magic and mystery. It was said that the temple was guarded by a powerful entity whose purpose was to protect a sacred fire known as the Eternal Flame. This flame was not just a source of light but a conduit to untapped power and forbidden desires. Sienna, a daring and curious adventurer, had heard tales of the Eternal Flame from a wandering sage in a distant village. Her interest was piqued not by the promise of power but by the allure of the flame's mythical properties. She had always been fascinated by the concept of a fire that could stir one's deepest passions, and the thought of experiencing it firsthand was too tantalizing to resist. One crisp autumn evening, Sienna approached the Ashen Temple, her breath visible in the cool air. The forest was eerily silent, save for the occasional rustling of leaves. As she made her way through the overgrown paths, the temple's imposing silhouette came into view, its stone walls covered in ivy and moss. She could feel the air growing warmer as she neared the entrance, and her heart began to race with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. Inside the temple, the air was thick with a heady aroma of incense and ancient magic. The vast chamber was illuminated by the soft glow of the Eternal Flame, which danced on a pedestal at the center of the room. The fire's flames were a deep, hypnotic red, casting a mesmerizing light that flickered and swirled in the dimness. As Sienna approached the flame, she felt a sudden, intense heat emanate from it, enveloping her in a wave of warmth that seemed to seep into her very soul. The fire's heat was not just physical but seemed to awaken something within her, a primal, almost carnal energy that made her skin tingle and her heart pound. In the midst of her fascination, a figure emerged from the shadows, an enigmatic man with eyes that gleamed like molten gold. He was tall and dark, with an aura that exuded both authority and an alluring mystery. His presence was commanding, and Sienna felt an inexplicable pull towards him, as if he were intrinsically connected to the flame itself. "I am Kale, the guardian of the Eternal Flame," he said, his voice smooth and resonant. "You have come seeking the fire's secrets. What is it that you desire?" Sienna's voice faltered for a moment as she tried to find the right words. "I want to understand the flame's power. I want to experience its true nature." Kale's gaze was piercing, and he seemed to read her thoughts with an unsettling precision. "The flame reveals what lies within," he said softly. "Are you prepared to face what it brings to the surface?" Before Sienna could answer, Kale took a step closer, his presence overwhelming. The heat from the Eternal Flame intensified, wrapping around them both like a passionate embrace. Sienna could feel her resolve melting away. Kale's proximity stirred her desires in ways she had never known. Without warning, Kale's lips brushed against hers in a searing kiss, igniting a fire within her that matched the one before them. The kiss was both tender and fierce, a blend of passion and urgency that set Sienna's senses alight. She could feel the heat of the flame mirroring the intensity of their connection, a feedback loop of desire that was both exhilarating and consuming. Their bodies pressed together, the heat of the flame mingling with the heat of their skin. Kale's hands roamed over Sienna's body, his touch both electrifying and comforting. Each caress seemed to stoke the fire within her, pushing her further into a realm of pure, unfiltered passion. As the night deepened, the chamber of the Ashen Temple became a haven of sensuality and heat. The Eternal Flame burned brightly, casting flickering shadows that danced along the walls as Kale and Sienna became lost in each other. Their desires intertwined, feeding off the fire's magic and their mutual attraction, until the lines between reality and fantasy blurred into a heady haze of pleasure. By the time dawn's first light began to seep through the temple's ancient windows, the Eternal Flame had dimmed slightly, but its power had not waned. Sienna and Kale lay entwined on the cold stone floor, their bodies glistening with the sheen of their shared passion. Kale's gaze met Sienna's with a mixture of satisfaction and something akin to reverence. "The flame has revealed your true desires," he said softly. "And it has awakened something in you that will never be the same." Sienna's heart swelled with a profound sense of fulfillment and connection. She had come seeking the flame's secrets and had found something far greater, an experience that had ignited her soul and bound her to the Eternal Flame in a way she could never have anticipated. As she prepared to leave the Ashen Temple, Sienna glanced back at the flame one last time, its glow now gentle and serene. She knew that the fire's influence would remain with her, a constant reminder of the night when her deepest desires were aroused and fulfilled by the magic of the eternal flame. As Sienna left the Ashen Temple, the forest seemed to have transformed. The once eerie silence was now filled with the melodious sounds of morning birds, and the forest floor sparkled with the first light of dawn. The crisp autumn air felt refreshing against her skin, a stark contrast to the intense heat she had just experienced. Her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, but a deep sense of satisfaction and wonder settled within her. The path back to her village was familiar yet felt transformed. The world outside the temple seemed to be bathed in a new light, vibrant and full of potential. Sienna's heart fluttered with the after-effects of her night with Kale. The sensation of the eternal flame's heat lingered, a constant reminder of the profound connection she had felt. As she neared her village, Sienna couldn't help but reflect on her encounter. The passion she had shared with Kale was unlike anything she had ever known. It was as if the eternal flame had awakened a part of her that had been dormant, revealing desires and feelings that were both exhilarating and disconcerting. The village welcomed her with open arms, but Sienna felt a subtle shift in her perception of the world around her. The ordinary routines and conversations now seemed infused with a new depth. Her interactions were tinged with a sense of heightened awareness, and even the simplest of things held a new, vibrant significance. Days passed, and while Sienna returned to her daily life, the memory of that night in the Ashen Temple remained a potent force within her. She often found herself lost in thought, her mind drifting back to Kale and the flames. The experience had left an indelible mark, and she began to notice subtle changes in her behavior and emotions. One evening, while walking near the edge of the forest, Sienna stumbled upon an old, leather-bound book partially buried in the underbrush. Curious, she carefully dug it out and brushed off the dirt. The cover was adorned with intricate symbols that seemed oddly familiar. Opening it, she discovered it was a journal filled with notes on ancient magic and lore, much of it centered around fire and its mystical properties. Among the passages, she found a description of a ritual that could summon and channel the power of the eternal flame. The journal hinted that this ritual could not only harness the flame's energy but also deepen one's connection to it, potentially allowing the practitioner to channel its power at will. Intrigued, Sienna decided to delve into the ritual. The journal provided detailed instructions, and she set about gathering the necessary ingredients and preparing the ritual space. She felt a mix of excitement and apprehension as she meticulously followed each step, the anticipation building as she neared the final preparation. That night, under the light of the full moon, Sienna performed the ritual. The ancient words from the journal echoed in the forest, and as she completed the incantation, a familiar warmth began to envelop her. The eternal flame, though not physically present, seemed to respond to her call. The fire's energy coursed through her, and she felt a powerful surge of passion and clarity. As the ritual reached its zenith, Kale appeared before her, seemingly conjured by the very magic she had invoked. His presence was more commanding than ever, and his gaze was filled with a knowing intensity. "You have awakened the flame within you," he said, his voice rich with both approval and something else, something that hinted at a deeper connection between them. Sienna's heart raced as she felt the heat of the flame magnified by Kale's presence. The fire's energy intertwined with her own, amplifying her sensations and emotions. The night unfolded in a blur of passion and magic, the boundary between their physical and spiritual connection growing ever more blurred. In the aftermath, as they lay together under the starlit sky, Sienna and Kale shared a profound sense of unity. The eternal flame had not only aroused her but had also forged a deeper bond between them, connecting their souls in a way that transcended the physical realm. Kale, ever enigmatic, looked at Sienna with a mixture of affection and mystery. "The flame has revealed much to you," he said softly. "But remember, it is not just about the power it holds. It is about the journey it inspires and the connections it fosters." Sienna nodded, understanding the truth in his words. The eternal flame had indeed aroused more than just her desires, it had awakened a part of her that yearned for deeper connections and greater understanding. As Kale faded into the night, leaving Sienna alone with her thoughts, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The flame's influence had reshaped her perspective, and she knew that her journey was far from over. The eternal flame had kindled a fire within her that would continue to burn brightly, guiding her towards new experiences and deeper truths. With Kale's departure, Sienna felt a lingering warmth within her, a reminder of their shared moment and the fire's transformative power. The moon hung high in the sky, casting a silver glow over the forest as she made her way back to her village. The journey felt different now, as if the path was illuminated by an inner light that guided her steps with newfound purpose. The next morning, Sienna awoke with a sense of renewed energy. The village seemed more vibrant, the colors more vivid, and the people's interactions richer. She approached her daily tasks with a new perspective, her interactions laced with a subtle confidence and understanding that seemed to radiate from her very being. One day, while exploring the outskirts of the forest near the Ashen Temple, Sienna came across a secluded glen she had never seen before. The glen was adorned with wildflowers and overhung by ancient trees whose branches created a natural canopy. At the center of the glen was a small, clear pool of water, its surface undisturbed and serene. As Sienna approached the pool, she felt a strange pull, as if the water held some ancient secret. She knelt by the edge and gazed into its depths. To her surprise, the surface began to ripple, and a vision emerged: Kale, standing beside the eternal flame, his gaze directed straight at her. "Seek the heart of the flame," Kale's voice echoed from the vision. "There lies the key to understanding its true power." Sienna's heart raced as the vision faded, leaving her with a sense of urgency. She knew that the path she was on was not yet complete. The heart of the flame, Kale's message implied, held a deeper significance that she needed to uncover. Determined to find answers, Sienna returned to the Ashen Temple. The journey felt different this time. The forest seemed to guide her steps with a knowing grace. When she arrived, the temple was bathed in a soft, ethereal light, as if welcoming her return. Inside, the eternal flame still burned brightly on its pedestal. Sienna approached it with reverence, the fire's heat once again wrapping around her. She closed her eyes and focused on the vision she had seen in the pool. "The heart of the flame," she whispered, trying to connect with the flame's deeper essence. As she concentrated, the fire's glow began to intensify, its flames forming intricate patterns that seemed to tell a story. The heat became more intense, and Sienna felt a powerful surge of energy. She could almost hear a faint, rhythmic pulsing, like the heartbeat of the flame itself. Suddenly, a hidden door in the temple's walls slid open, revealing a spiral staircase leading down into the earth. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, Sienna descended the stairs. The passage was lined with ancient symbols and inscriptions, each one glowing faintly in the dim light. At the bottom of the staircase, she entered a chamber that was unlike any she had seen before. The room was filled with a soft, golden light emanating from a large, ornate chest in the center. The chest was adorned with intricate carvings of flames and mystical symbols. Sienna's heart quickened as she approached it. With a deep breath, she opened the chest. Inside, nestled in a bed of fine silk, was a radiant crystal that seemed to pulse with the same rhythmic energy she had felt earlier. The crystal was perfectly shaped like a heart, and its surface shimmered with a fiery brilliance. As Sienna reached for the crystal, a surge of warmth enveloped her. The crystal seemed to resonate with her very soul, its energy merging with her own. She closed her eyes, allowing the power of the crystal to flow through her. The experience was both exhilarating and calming, as if she were becoming one with the essence of the eternal flame. In that moment, Sienna understood. The heart of the flame was not just a physical artifact but a representation of the flame's deepest power and connection to her own inner desires. It was a source of guidance, strength, and insight. The flame had not only revealed her true self but had also given her the tools to harness and channel its power in ways that could transform her life. As she held the crystal, a figure materialized in the chamber, the guardian Kale, his presence as commanding as ever. "You have found the heart of the flame," he said, his voice filled with pride. "You now possess the essence of its power and the wisdom it bestows. Use it wisely, for it will guide you on your path." Sienna nodded, feeling a profound sense of gratitude and responsibility. She knew that her journey with the eternal flame was far from over. The heart of the flame had given her a deeper understanding and a renewed sense of purpose. She was now ready to embrace the power within her and use it to shape her destiny. With the crystal safely in hand, Sienna ascended the staircase and left the Ashen Temple. The forest greeted her with a sense of quiet celebration, as if acknowledging her achievement. The path ahead was illuminated by the light of her newfound knowledge, and she walked forward with confidence, ready to explore the next chapter of her journey and the many wonders that awaited her. With the heart of the flame in her possession, Sienna felt a profound shift within herself. The crystal pulsed gently in her hand, its warmth a constant reminder of the power she now held. The journey back to her village was filled with a sense of anticipation and wonder, knowing that her life had changed irrevocably. As she approached the village, she noticed subtle changes in her surroundings. The colors were richer, the air felt lighter, and even the people seemed to move with a greater sense of purpose. It was as if the forest and its magic were resonating with the energy of the heart of the flame. Back in her cottage, Sienna placed the crystal on a small altar she had set up for it. She sat down, allowing herself a moment of reflection. The connection she had forged with the eternal flame was not merely a fleeting experience but a deep and lasting bond. The heart of the flame had revealed her inner strength and desires, and she was eager to explore the full extent of its potential. Days turned into weeks as Sienna continued her daily life, but with each passing day, she found herself increasingly attuned to the flame's influence. The village began to notice a change in her demeanor, her confidence was palpable, and her presence seemed to inspire those around her. She used her newfound wisdom and energy to help her neighbors, offering guidance and support in ways that were both practical and spiritually enriching. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the first stars began to twinkle, Sienna felt a familiar pull towards the forest. It was as if the heart of the flame was calling her to explore new depths of its power. She ventured back to the Ashen Temple, her steps guided by a sense of purpose. Inside the temple, the eternal flame burned with a steady, comforting glow. Sienna approached the pedestal, the heart of the flame in hand. As she held it up, the flame seemed to react, its glow intensifying and spreading outwards. The chamber was bathed in a warm, golden light, and the air was filled with a sense of heightened energy. A sudden, unexpected presence made itself known. A figure stepped out from the shadows, cloaked in the same enigmatic aura that Kale had once possessed. It was not Kale, but someone equally captivating, a woman with flowing dark hair and eyes that shimmered like molten gold. "Welcome, Sienna," the woman said, her voice smooth and resonant. "I am Lyra, the keeper of the flame's ancient secrets. I have been waiting for you." Sienna's heart raced with a mix of excitement and curiosity. "You know my name?" Lyra smiled. "The flame has a way of revealing those who are truly connected to its essence. I have been sent to guide you further, to help you unlock the full potential of the heart of the flame." With a graceful motion, Lyra gestured for Sienna to follow her. She led her to a hidden chamber within the temple, one that Sienna had never seen before. The room was adorned with ancient tapestries depicting the history of the eternal flame and its many guardians. In the center of the chamber was a large, ornate mirror, its surface shimmering with a soft, golden light. Lyra beckoned Sienna closer. "This mirror reflects not only your outer self but also your inner truth. It will reveal the path you are meant to follow." Sienna approached the mirror, holding the heart of the flame before her. As she gazed into the reflective surface, the image that appeared was not just of herself but of a grand and intricate tapestry of possibilities. She saw visions of her future, her role as a guide and protector, using the flame's power to help others and uncover hidden truths. Lyra's voice was a soothing presence at her side. "The heart of the flame is not just a source of power, it is a beacon of enlightenment. It will guide you to those who need your help and reveal the mysteries you seek to understand." As Sienna absorbed the mirror's revelations, she felt a profound sense of clarity and purpose. The heart of the flame had not only connected her to a powerful source of magic but had also shown her the path of her destiny. She was to be a bridge between the mystical and the mundane, using her gifts to bring light and guidance to those around her. With Lyra's encouragement, Sienna set out on a new journey, one that took her beyond the confines of her village and into the wider world. She traveled to distant lands, offering her wisdom and assistance wherever she went. The heart of the flame remained a constant companion, its power and guidance helping her navigate the challenges and adventures that lay ahead. Each new experience brought Sienna closer to understanding the true nature of the flame and her place within its grand design. She encountered others who were also touched by the flame's magic, forming bonds and alliances that further enriched her journey. Through her travels and encounters, Sienna's story became one of inspiration and transformation. She had embraced the heart of the flame and used its power to illuminate the lives of others, finding fulfillment in her role as a conduit of magic and a harbinger of hope. In the end, Sienna's journey was not just about the fire that had aroused her desires but about the light it had kindled within her soul. The eternal flame had transformed her life, and in turn, she had used its power to spark positive change in the world, leaving a legacy of warmth and wisdom that would endure long after her own journey had come to an end.